we'd put our stuff in the motel, and we travelled south again to Lone Pine because we liked it so much, and we had food there. We had a parmesan, but I was so tired and my appetite was really not there, and I had a headache, and I think it had a lot to do with Death Valley and just the excessive sweating and elevation, and just it's a lot of stress on the body. So I was really ready for my bed, and George had pretty much 2 meals that night. And we drove through and stopped at Bishop when we got there. I knew about Bishop because I'd read it on some blogs and things, and I knew it was on that route. Route 395 was the route we were taking. Bishop was still lovely. It was a bit bigger than Lone Pine, and it was a bit more built up and things. It wasn't quite as adorable, but it was still lovely. There was 2 antique shops there, and they sold like vintage cowboy boots and cowboy hats and things. And then I bought 3 books for the price of a coffee in Vegas. And we had a really nice salad there. I'll have to find out also the name of that place. It was Spellbinder Books, and it had a cafe through the back. The salad was just so good. We went to Mammoth Lakes, and I know there's Lake Mary, which is the bigger one, and then there was Lake George. Of course we had to go there.
Tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. All my friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cool night. Yeah, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life.
Relieved to be in this kind of climate. It says it's like summer in the UK, temperatures, you know, like 20 degrees. Today specifically it feels cold, it feels like autumn, but it's nice and it's refreshing.
Just get it.
Last night, yes, we belong, my friend, my special friend.
I went the wrong way. Turn the brightness.
Oh, that's fine. So we went to Nicely's Diner in Lee Vining last night, which was nice. It was our first actual diner experience, and we're staying at Lakeview Lodge. That's nice and comfortable. It's not far from Tioga Pass. It's really close actually. I was thinking it's a shame that it's not sunny, and because in the Lake District near us, everything just looks so much better when it's sunny. The mountains just light up and it looks like some sort of fake fairyland place, which I guess this would be like that in the sun, but it's just still gorgeous. And the elevation's like 9,000 feet, and we're just driving along these mountain roads. It's pretty insane. We're gonna go Yosemite Valley and Falls, and then I was hoping to go to Taft Point for the sunset, which is a recommended sunset viewing spot, but it really depends on the clouds. And we spotted, what was the lake called?
Tenaya or something?
Tenaya Lake. So we might go swimming later on the way back. You got any additions, Jack?
Distant family, a laughter of my oldest friends, for years I haven't seen. I know that that's impossible, I tell myself each day, but no one stops those growing sounds, they will not go away. But no one comes here for me, which was my own cruel design. There's nothing left but dusty dreams and memories and time. Hello, how are you?
must be no, or else you wouldn't even fold. Why don't you come down to earth? You know that we miss you. It's been so long since you.
Our first stop in Yosemite wasn't actually in Yosemite. We didn't realise this at the time. Tioga Pass is like an hour-long drive. It is a long entrance to the park. We stopped first at Tenaya Lake, which, when we stepped out of the car, it was just this fresh, crisp air. It was so gorgeous. It wasn't like an unpleasant, chilly, shivery cold. It was just fresh, crisp air. That's my only description, because it was just so nice. What was a really nice surprise that I hadn't really thought of was just the smell of the forest when we got there. I smelt the fallen sequoia tree that's obviously dead, but the sap and the resin on it was just so pungent still. You know them, obviously it's not a pine tree, but pine candles. It really reminded me of that, but better. We drove up to Tunnel View, and I'm just going to emphasise this. Out of all the places you could go, that would be the only place I would say you have to go. It just has everything. It has the waterfall, the trees down in Yosemite Valley, the half dome and all the other cliff edges. It's just a perfect framing as well. It's that photo that I'm pretty sure was on Mac desktop computers as a background. It's such a great view. And you don't have to go all the way to Glacier Point Road. So then we carry on the journey. This was quite a packed day for the first day in Yosemite. Glacier Point Road all the way to the end, past Taft Point. That is a really expansive view. Pretty sure it was something ridiculous, like 200 miles. Yes, it's 207 miles. So if you don't want to do that, just go to Tunnel View and you'll be pretty happy with that, I believe. Obviously, with the weather we had, it was hard to tell what it would look like on a different day. And I am very glad we did do that journey, because what happens next is very exciting. We saw a bear. I didn't photograph the bear and I didn't get good footage of the bear, but I got some footage of the bear. It ran across the road. Well, actually, it was quite slow. It went across the road in front of me, literally a few meters. And there was a person behind who was trying to go faster, and it was right on my ass through all these wiggly waggly roads. It was raining still, and they were very windy roads, and I was going the speed limit. So if I was going any faster, I could have hit a bear on my first day in Yosemite National Park, which would have been horrible. So I'm very glad that I wasn't speeding. It went across the road, and then at the next pull-in, what's really handy about the national parks is there's loads of opportunities to pull in for viewpoints, and probably because the roads are quite challenging and you might want to stop at some point. So I pulled in. It was literally just round that bend, and they pulled in as well behind. And I didn't think that we would see one. I was saying to George, there's only 200 to 300 bears and you're unlikely to see one. That's what I'd read online, but we were very lucky. I don't actually know how common it is to see them. It could just be that everyone sees one. Yeah, so I grabbed George immediately. I was like, there's a bear! Oh my god, George, we've seen a bear! Wow. You know, I usually would try and ignore her, but she will not shut up. You're a menace. An absolute menace. Right. So, once we'd seen the bear, I was just so excited. I felt it in my whole body. I had so much adrenaline. I wanted to get out, but then I was like, maybe that's not such a good idea. It was just so magnificent just to watch from a distance in the car, and that was a much better option, I do believe. And not long after that, there was a beautiful sunset that I didn't expect, because it was pretty, like, it was a blanket of cloud. It wasn't just dotted clouds. And somehow this gorgeous pink sunlight glowed through the sheet of white clouds, and it just lit up the sky. The best kind of sunsets, I think, are the ones that surprise you. It wasn't at any sort of viewpoint, but the Glacier Point Road is a really scenic road in general, and you'll generally have a lovely view of mountains from there. And you kind of twist round as well, so you get the sky and view from lots of different angles because you're just going in spirals, so you get every opportunity to see everything in the vicinity. Right, so when I was saying it was over 200 miles for this whole route through Yosemite, it got dark. Obviously we saw the sunset, and it was recommended to see that an earlier on location at Taft Point. I really struggle to understand how people are recommending that you see it there when you're going to have to drive all the way back, because it is in the sticks. That meant I was driving in the pitch black. There's no lighting. In the rain. It was the start of a hurricane, but it didn't really turn into something bad. It was flooding the road, so I waterplaned a little bit, and I had to be really careful. And obviously with it being pitch black, I couldn't see which roads were the ones that were literally on the edge of mountains that I would have been able to see the view from earlier. They were just mystery roads. We saw a coyote coming just at the edge of the road. We saw quite a few deer. The first animal I saw in Yosemite was a beaver. It was this fat, chubby, fluffy thing. Oh, we discovered Bruce Springsteen's radio station when we were driving through the rainy, pitch black mountains. The radio stations, like, there's a lot of good choice. We listened to a lot of 80s country music. We had a bit of Green Day on. It was a good time. And the following day, we had another full day to spend at Lee Vining / Yosemite, but we were both pretty tired. The Basin Cafe is a cafe that's on the site of the lodge that we were staying at, Lakeview Lodge, and they gave us a little discount card and things for 10% off. So we went and had our breakfast there for the second morning, and I had 4 pancakes. I thought 2 or 4. If I don't finish something like that, George always steps in. So I got the 4, but they were huge. They were like proper cartoon pancakes, which is
all the options of sauce.
When you order pancakes. I said this to George. This stack of pancakes is what you hope for when you order pancakes, and George did finish them off. And bottomless coffee, which became one of my favourite things in America. And after breakfast we got ready to go to Tenaya Lake. George, I filmed us going in with the GoPro. George was doing like panic breathing, like cold water shock almost. It wasn't that cold, but he is so used to hot baths for weight cutting and things, and he never does any like cold water therapy or cold showers or anything like that. And I've been in the North Sea a few times, so I was a little bit more able to cope, and I was doing relaxing slow breaths, and he was like let me go down a little bit more there. Tenaya Lake was so quiet and it was so clean, and then you had the mountains surrounding it, and the clouds were like at the top of the mountains. It was really picturesque, and we didn't stay in too long. But when we got out, we had to run along to the car park and got in the car and warmed up. So it was quite toasty after.
I look out across the water, I smell the salt, I feel the breeze. But in my heart I hear the calling of my old home, Tennessee. We don't know where these rivers flow, calling of Tennessee. Who are we to know where these rivers flow, or why the wind chooses when and where to blow? The sun is gonna rise each and every time, and I've still got Tennessee on my mind.
We decided that that was kind of it for Yosemite. It would have probably been better to go to the viewpoints and things that day just because it was sunny, but I'd done so much driving and George was getting really sleepy and a little bit fed up, I think. So we did that quick swim on the morning and then we went back to the hotel and had a nice warm shower. We got changed and ready to go out to the nearest town. George had found Bridgeport on the map and that looked to be a bit of a built-up area with some cafes and restauranty places. There were some gift shops and things, and we went in the Rhino for food, and that was such a cozy, I don't know if it's a saloon or a yeah, it's more of a saloon, with like dollar bills on the wall with people's messages and things. There was a lot of history I could feel to the place and it was really nice. And George had his Contender Series t-shirt on because he'd run out. They were asking him, how'd you get in with Dana? Oh, we had large ice creams in Bridgeport. It was huge. It was a whipped ice cream and it was just like that tall or something. It was beautiful. Obviously we were up and ready nice and early for leaving that hotel, and as soon as we got into Nevada the casinos started popping up again. We went along to Zephyr Cove Resort at Lake Tahoe. It was kind of not great weather when we got to Lake Tahoe either. The sun popped out for a little while and I got Josh to take a photo of me at the edge of it. We didn't go in. If I was on my own I probably would have gone in, but I got some good photos and took in the sights. Then we headed off to kind of the Sacramento route towards San Francisco. We went to Folsom Prison. It's still an active prison. It's not like Alcatraz in San Francisco where it's like a whole visitor center, but George wanted to go there because he was thinking of the Johnny Cash song when he saw it on the map, and he was like, yeah, I want to go there so that I can sing that song and then think of this trip. So we went and drove into the prison car park, and then we were like, well, what now? Because there's nothing you can do there except from drive into the car park and then leave again. So I mean, there were some deer. That was pretty cool. They were the closest deer that we got to as well. It was a whole family and they were just at the edge of the road. So we went to a prison and then left again, and then we found a donut shop that was really, really good.
Hello, how are you? I'm living on the moon. I'm calling from a telephone inside of a saloon. The only other person here left many years ago, and now I sit here at the bar feeling so alone. I've read all of the books I had and walked the planet round, but still the thing I'm looking for refuses to be found, except this clanging deep.
What are you doing?
I'm such a fool.
Whoop. Is it one?
Laughter of my oldest friends, the years I haven't seen. I know that's impossible, I tell myself each day, but nothing stops those growing sound that will not go away. But no one comes here for me, which was my own cruel design. There's nothing left but dusty dreams and memories and time. Hello, how are you? I heard you're on the move.
And then after that we went to the bakery, Boudin Bakery, at the harbour wharf, I think they call it, where they just do sourdough bread with everything. I had salmon on sourdough with some gorgeous sauce thing and tomatoes and nice fresh things and coriander. It was really tasty. George picked a crab in the shell. They asked him whether he wanted it in the shell or out the shell. He was like, oh, I'll go with it in the shell. Big mistake. He's a really messy eater anyway, and this was a challenge. Afterwards he had to wash his hands and face in the toilets. I'd finished mine and I was just sat laughing at him trying to eat and crack with the nutcracker and things. So our last full day in America, I woke up, put my makeup on and a nice dress because I wanted to feel nice and pretty for my last day, get some nice photos, looking fancy. We had a massive walkabout because we spent a couple of days feeling tired and things, but I think what George had a problem with was being driven about for so long and not being able to stretch his legs and make his heart work and things. So we went for a big walk in San Francisco and literally walked all day. Do something through then?